Hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to put this together. I think this is the 6 videos that I'm going to call the Zealot's Path. We're just going to watch it and comment as we go.
Seeks only to walk in your light, to serve you. The others are
Kesek
dead.
Mohar is what he called
Dust
himself.
at the tainted hands of unbelievers. For 6 weeks,
You can see it at the
I
bottom.
sailed
This is the
stars
data
of
slate
penance,
log number 1.
weighing my options. I cannot prepare the way alone. As much as it pains me,
He's lost
I must
all of his
return to
crew. He's the only one
Varun
who
Kai.
survived, and he thinks he's got to go back to
So,
Varun Kai.
I will make this journey a pilgrimage, retracing the footsteps of Jinan to rekindle the flame, your flame, which burns within me always. From
Rekindle
foul
his
colony
faith.
Space, I leap into the beyond, like Jinan in the mighty Archimedes when he first touched your grace. Hear me, great Serpent, that I may know your eternal embrace.
Okay, so lost in battle, calling out to the Great Serpent, going to make his way home to take a better path.
I have jumped
Log
now
2.
for many days. I sense your touch in the blur, like a great weight lifted from my chest. With each jump, I feel closer to you. Closer.
So
to
as he does the grav jumps, he's
my
closer to the
return
Great
in shame
Serpent.
of temporary defeat. I do long to walk again on the streets of Dazra. To taste warm koza on my lips.
Some nostalgia for what it's like to be
Once more
home.
among the promised. I can feel Jinan beside me, guiding me. As you, Great Serpent, guided him to break ground and make your great city so. I've not prayed in the Scaled Citadel for 17 years.
So he's
I
been
hope my
gone for
people have kept
17
their
years, and this should be taking place in 2330, so 2313 would be when he left, right after the
At
end of the
last, I
colony
have
war.
reached the Volley system. These stars bore witness to the revelation of the great morning in accursed space.
Okay,
As
so in the
Jinan
third log,
proclaimed
he's
your
remembering these
magnificence.
great stories from the past.
I would have loved to have been at the Prophet's side on that day, to see his cunning unfold.
It should have been
as he feigned diplomacy
2240,
with one
I think.
hand and raised an army with the other, right
Is when
under
the Serpent
noses
Crusade
of the
started.
vile heretics who would be made
So
dust.
almost 100 years ago.
What glory it must have been to look upon the Varun fleet at its strength. I have heard rumors of promised nearby. Honored heroes of the Great Crusade, who served under Jinan himself. With your blessing, Great Serpent, I will find them, seek their wisdom, and persuade them to fight once more in your name.
It's interesting to consider how old some of these promised or heroes would be.
Fools!
Has to be a generation or two down the road.
Cowards!
It wouldn't be the
I'd
same
hoped
people.
to find heroes of the Great Crusade, but all I found were weak and broken old men. And worse
They
yet,
should be
Great
very
Serpent,
old men.
they
That shouldn't have been
shamed you.
surprising,
Purity
though.
spread in your name throughout the settled systems. I dreamt of
They don't
meeting
wanna fight.
warriors like these since I was a child.
Okay.
The purest of the promised, whose blades sang in the blood of your greatest rhapsody. I told them of my wish to continue your fight, that your will to purge the universe of unbelievers has not waned. And they called me a zealot. They spoke of the horrors of war.
I do notice there's a lot of lorem ipsum text filling in the background here.
As heralds of your judgment.
Kind of odd.
Fear not, Great Serpent, for I will not succumb to this trial of faith. Your fire burns brighter in me now more than ever.
Nice artwork. Symbol of combat. Data slate log 5.
I grow weary.
You can hear it in his voice. He
15
sounds
days
tired.
Since I left the false promised warriors, and still their weakness sickens me. It is the work of Jinan's sniveling, gutless worm of a son, Jarek, who prostrated himself at the feet of our enemies the moment his father left our
Doesn't
world to
like
join our
Jarek.
side. Jarek, who abandoned Jinan's dream of conquest, left our people to rot in isolation where his blasphemous ideas could fester. I pray his son, Anasko, finds his way back to your path, or House Varun will fall. I am low on supplies.
He's also starting to hear
Not
whispers.
well.
Maybe a little crazy.
I hear voices in the void. whispering
Maybe not eating as well.
things. Please, Great Serpent, I beg you, take me home.
Data slate log 6.
Ah, Great Serpent, praise your wisdom and benevolence.
Ah, good
I have
news.
found the promised, true promised. I have been alone for so long, but they found me and welcomed me aboard their ship. They fed me and shared with me news of home. News that, together,
So these are
blended
current
firm
zealots,
person on Varun Kai.
also with a real connection back to
Apparently,
Varun Kai.
Damasco has sequestered himself in the scaled citadel, conducting some kind of clandestine experiments. Experiments of a religious nature
Okay.
that draw great power from the city. I know not of his true intent, but no son of Jarrah can be trusted to wield such technology alone. If our suspicions are confirmed, we will seize control.
Our
by force,
suspicions.
if we must.
So now he's part of
Shrouding
conspiracy
his
to go
coming.
back
True
to Varun
believers
Kai
must take charge to prepare
and take
the way.
control
This technology,
of whatever
it
Damasco is
may
doing.
it guide the promised back to the radiance
Very
of your
interesting.
word and renew our blades with devastating purpose. The galaxy will tremble before House Varun once more.
So that's the story leading up to Shattered Space. Now I did remove some of these game elements from between the different data slates because each one of them ended with a little bit of that. And I also pulled together all 6 of the images for each one of the data slates. So we can see at the beginning where he was just after the battle where he lost everybody in his crew. He was the only survivor and he's praying to the Great Serpent and reaching out. He's having some nostalgia, realizes he's going to go back to Darza City. The more nostalgia, remembering this great battle from the past, nearly 100 years ago. And then he goes out looking for these promised, assumably zealots, warriors from this battle who would believably be old, and he finds that they're old and they don't want to fight anymore, which is kind of odd. And then he goes a little bit crazy before in the final log he actually discovers some what I'll consider to be current zealots, some of whom have probably been affiliated with or have recently left Varun Kai, or it could be, and this is not uncommon in the real world as well, where you've got a group of fighters or zealots who are out there doing kind of the hands-on dirty work, and you've got some people who are connected to them but still part of society, either funding them or supporting them in some way, shape, or form. And we see the last part of the story, which is that they're going to go back to Darza and they're going to find out what this experiment is, and if necessary, because they're the only ones who could properly use it, they're going to take control of it, which means the chaos that we find, the destruction that we find, could have actually been caused by the zealots themselves. They could have come back and the experiment might have been going on well, or the experiment might have been going along at least well enough and not be out of control, but there could have been some conflict over control over the technology of the experiment, and they triggered the explosion destroying parts of their own city, and that's not the most unusual thing to hear either. So that's it. That's all very exciting. We're just a few days away from it. There's plenty of time to prepare for Shattered Space. If you've got a character already going, if you've just started, you probably got some ramping up to do, and it might be a little challenging to get in there, but otherwise this looks like it's going to be fun. Thanks for tuning in.